Yeah, okay. Rajiv is already online. So Rajiv and me have been friends since a long. We did BSc in the same class, in the same college, and during MSc, we were in the same campus. I was in the genetics department. He was in the biochemistry department. So we have a lot of good memories, both scientific and non-scientific. I can share only the scientific here. And then he, after his studies, he decided to go into the industries. I went for PhDs. He has a very good analytical mind, and besides science, he is an expert bike rider and a brilliant skater. He has his own YouTube channel where you can see his wonderful journeys across India on the bike. So right now uh, he is a senior research associate at the Premas Biotech Private Limited, which is there at Manesar. It's in Gurgaon. Manesar is also the place where National Brain Research Center is situated. So with this, uh, Sanjeev sir wants to say something, and after that,
Yes.
we'll welcome
Yeah.
Rajiv.
Yeah. वेलकम राजीव.
थैंक यू सर.
हाँ, एक यहाँ पे आप लोगों का भी इंट्रोडक्शन से मतलब जस्ट मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा स्टूडेंट्स को कि एक ही बैकग्राउंड से और एक ही रूट दोनों का एक ही है ग्रेजुएशन का, और आप देख सकते हैं कि दो डिफरेंट मतलब एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म से दो दोस्त, एक एकेडमिक फील्ड में और एक इंडस्ट्री फील्ड में. So you can take the example of also practice. This is the beauty of this seminar. You can get the example, practical example from this platform. How the students can select the particular field to make the career. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा चीज है. और दूसरी बात हो सके पता नहीं कि इसमें ज्वाइन किए कि नहीं, कि देर आर सो मेनी स्टूडेंट्स आस्किंग मी फॉर द जॉब इन इंडस्ट्री. तो मुझे लगता है कि राजीव आज बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन करेंगे वैसे लोगों का जिनका बहुत सारे क्यूरीज रहता है कि आफ्टर ग्रेजुएशन और मास्टर हम क्या करें. तो राजीव कंटिन्यू कीजिए. अभी सेशन हम लोग का बहुत लेट चल रहा है और अच्छे से इसको एक्सप्लेन कीजिए क्योंकि दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द स्टूडेंट.
Okay. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Mic check. Thank you, Dr. Pius, for a wonderful session of good presentation. It was really learning for me as well. And good morning, all, whoever in India, and good evening to the western portion of the globe people joined us. So let me connect my presentation over here. I think it is getting uploaded right now.
It's the slides are visible now.
Slides are visible.
Yeah.
Okay. But I wonder why I'm not able to see my own slides.
You can put it in the presentation mode. The audience can see the slide. And maybe you have not.
Okay.
I can't say.
Is it changing? No.
Yeah, it's changing. Yeah.
It's changing. Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's fine. Okay, so thank you, Sanjeev sir, for inviting me on this wonderful session, and I really appreciate your effort in this Sanjeevni Biotech Foundation, that you have created a platform where all the seniors and juniors from decades, seniors and a decade junior people are on the same platform. Thank you very much, Sanjeev sir, for this. And today's topic of my presentation is career in biotech industries, a student's prospect and approach. Right. So in this talk, we will specifically focused on the different prospect of a job in biotech industries. Okay. And then in the second section, we will see what are the approach to get a job in industry, because there are several industries which are not known to the students who are fresher or who are doing MSc. So I feel this is important to share all these unexplored things in front of our juniors, and it will be benefit to them also who are like searching a job or who are struggling after their post graduation or PhD. Right. So let's start. The first slide, actually, the journey. So before I start in full fledged with the presentation, it's always great to start with the alma mater, and that is none other than the BN College. So I was in 2005-8 session in biotech department, and Pawan sir is here also. He was my immediate senior, and he was a senior who is a friend as well. He always helped me and guided me, in fact, where to apply and how to apply. So that was a great guidance. And because of him, I think I am here today. I am sharing some of the memories. Pius can I recall it. The 2006 a roundtable conference, the first international conference that was organized by Patna University itself, and on this roundtable, you can see Dr. Pius, me, and two more our classmates. So this started from 2006. Then 2010, uh, the next pick is Dr. Pius and me here. This was the last day of our MSc. I was not clear what to do next. Okay, and then in 2016, you can see at the bottom, there is a infrastructure of building. That's my first industry. Okay, so what happened and how I get into the industry? So this story actually has a reason behind that. Uh, to come into the biotech industry, I was interested since my childhood itself. When I was kid, when I was in a school, I used to read newspaper and try to find the best career opportunities. There is a magazine, weekly magazine in the Hindustan newspaper, Nai Dishaएं. So that weekly magazine helped me a lot to decide the biotech. And then there were some TV series, what to say, Discovery Channel. I used to watch, and Medical Detectives and The Wings. These two serials were forced to make me think like a scientist. So I did BSc and then MSc, but I always wanted to work in a place where I can apply my research work on the welfare of human beings. As the definition of biotechnology itself says, exploitation of microorganisms or biological things for the welfare of human beings. So I was keen interest to uh, do something which has applied significance. So that was the reason I was keep thinking to come in the industries, but I was not having any idea how to get into a company and how to search a job, because in the year 2010 technology was also not that well connected, and seniors were also not in contact who were working in the industries. So I started the journey from the first job in academics, that was my uh, there is a research center, Central Institute for Research on Goods. So I had some experience on animal handling and animal physiology, and I thought it is a applied research. But when I joined there was nothing like that. Okay, then I came back to Delhi University once again, and I started working there. So in 2016, I got my first industry, and that first industry I'm showing on this slide at the bottom, that is Agape Diagnostics. Okay, so from here it starts. So this was the like a brief journey how I started my thoughts, how I completed my degree and all. Now I am in the industry in full fledged. Also, from the BSc days, professors like Dr. Birender sir, SP Sinha sir, Nazire Hassan sir, BN Tiwari sir. So these teachers taught us in a way that motivated us a lot. And today, whoever is present here from BN College, they might be knowing. Not only BN College, from Patna University itself. So they are knowing these names. So let's start to the main business of the day. I'll start the presentation now. So see, in this slide, I will briefly tell about different industries where a biotech or a biochemist or a microbiologist can start a career. Okay, so as I earlier already told, there are two sections. One is prospect and another is approach. Prospect is what? Prospect is something which will lead you to achieve your goal, and you can see yourself where you will be standing once you enter or once you start working in these kind of industries, right? And in the approach section, I will try to explain, I will try to make you familiar with the different diverse kind of industries, all those names which never freshers know. Okay, so let's start the real talk now. So types of industry in current scenario these days, actually see the biotech industry has several applications and several industries like food technology, agriculture biotechnology, dairy biotechnology, and apart from that, in the healthcare section, if you see, we have three major categories. First is pharmaceuticals, which is very common to all. They know, everyone knows this pharmaceutical, what a pharmaceutical do. The next is in vitro diagnostics and current research organization, third one, right? So a pharma industry basically works to produce medicines or the drug substances. In technical term, it is called APIs, that is active pharmaceutical ingredients. IND and ANDA I am writing here. So that is investigational new drug and abbreviated new drug application. So investigational new drug is a kind of complete novel molecule which a pharma industry develops and file it to the US FDA for its approval. Pharma industries also their R&D department, or there may not be R&D department, only manufacturing plant can be there. Okay, so in the next slides, I will let you know in details about different departments and how they work. Right. So now come to the in vitro diagnostics. In vitro diagnostics is a new industry in our country, although in foreign it was already established. I think some 35 years back it started in India. So what's the role of in vitro diagnostics? So this is an industry which actually uh, indulged in making reagents. What type of reagent, then you will ask me? So reagents, that kind of reagents which are being used in the diagnostic centers. Suppose a patient visits a doctor, right? Then doctor will prescribe you certain tests like complete blood count, differential blood count, urine test, serum creatinine, alkaline phosphate. These are the tests. Okay, so what you will do, you will take the prescription, go to a diagnostic center. Diagnostic center mein that technician will take your sample and he will do some analysis. Okay, so analysis can be manually by hand with some chemicals or by automated instruments. So automated instruments or the like manual analysis, these both the testing required some reagents, some chemical reactions. So these chemical reactions is being done by some reagents. So in vitro diagnostic industry mostly produce these kind of reagents which are being used in the diagnostic centers for the diagnosis of a disease. Apart from reagents, there are point of care testing kits, rapid kits also available, which in vitro diagnostic industries make. So this is also a good career opportunity industry for those who has done MSc or BTech in biotechnology, and this is very good for the biochemist. Then next is CRO. I will deal all these in industries individually in the coming slides. This is just a brief. So contract research organization, as you see in this picture, there is a capsule and this capsule is opened. The drug substance which was filled inside is outside now. That is visible to you. So there is an intention to put this image. What is the intention? Intention is to show you what the contract research organization do. In India also, contract research organization is a new kind of industry which actually supports biotech industries or the pharmaceutical industries to uh, produce the active pharmaceutical ingredient in lower limit of time, and they will like support you in producing high amount in the lower cost also. So CRO, if you like coordinate with CROs, you will save your time and you will save your money as well. So this is just a supporting department which will help you to get your product ready by the time or on the time in fact. So before moving ahead, uh, industry wise discussion, I will let you know different departments and their roles in each of the industry. There are certain departments which we can see in the next slide. So here you see departments and their role, right? So basically in any industry, we have certain departments. I will name it like research and development, quality control, manufacturing department, downstream processing, product development, and quality assurance. That is called QA. So one by one, we will deal each of the department. When I talk to a MSc student and I ask him about the job, he will tell, I will work in the pharma industry. Hello,
Yeah, you are audible.
is it audible? Okay, actually, I was
Yes.
getting no response. Okay, no issues. So when I talk to a MSc student who is fresher, he is only knowing about the academics and different subjects, whatever he read in the classroom program. So he will say, after my MSc, I will do PhD or I will join an industry and I will develop a product. Okay, that is okay, that's fine. He will join an industry and he will develop a product, and that product will be uh, released globally. This is true. And for a MSc student also, who is not doing a PhD, he will also answer me the same way. But what is the fact? Is it really, if you are working in R&D department and you will develop a product that will be released globally? Answer is no. You cannot do that, because when we actually here, I would like to share some of the differences between academia and the industries. In academics, we do research in the R&D level itself, or so-called lab scale, right? So whatever our findings are there, we can publish it in a paper, a good peer-reviewed journal, We can, the data can be shared for other R&D purpose. But when you do some research in industry, the target is to apply that data or that product on the welfare of human beings, or in the plants if you are in the agriculture biotech, or on the animals if you are in animal biotechnology area. Because mostly industries develop drug substances, vaccines, injections, tablets, capsule, and number of other stuffs like syrups. So lots of things are there. So industries are strictly bounded to follow compliance and regulations. So compliance come into play, which is very strict, and this is the most strict norm in the industries in pharma and the biotech industries, because whatever you are going to do is going to be administered to any of the patient in the world. Maybe I develop a product in India that will be administered in a person sitting in America or South Africa or Germany. So there are certain norms, and what are that norms? These norms and regulatory affairs are being controlled by certain agencies, which I will tell you later in my coming slides. These agencies are like US FDA. US FDA controls all the regulatory affairs throughout the world. Okay, so that I will discuss later. So let's start the role of the R&D department in a pharma industry. Remember, here I am trying to make you familiar with the different departments and their roles. I will once again repeat: research and development department, then quality control department, then manufacturing department, and then quality assurance department, downstream processing. So all these are the departments which actually coordinate together to finalize one product. So let's start with the R&D department. So in R&D department, mostly company prefer to hire PhDs who has some expertise on a certain area of work. Like for example, my company, my current company where I'm working is a company which deals with recombinant proteins. So my company prefers PhDs who has done a very good molecular biology kind of thing, who has very good experience in like cloning in bacterial system and expression purification experiences, cloning in like fungal systems like Pichia pastoris or Saccharomyces cerevisiae or the mammalian cells. So R&D department will hire PhDs mostly, and these PhDs will actually lead the department or lead the team. So the prospect of a PhD guy in R&D department is to become a scientist, then senior scientist, or the lab manager, or the team lead. But a MSc guy will start from the bottom of the hierarchy. That I will also discuss later, different levels of your positions, right? So MSc guy will start from the he will be involved in more wet lab kind of work, but a PhD guy will be managing and writing the research proposals for the client, because I'm talking about a pharma industry or a CRO or in vitro diagnostics. So why we are writing a project proposal? To get the fundings from government agencies. So we need to prove them that this project will lead to produce some novel kind of molecule which has some clinical significance. Or in case of contract research organization, the project will be given to the client, and that client will read that research proposal, and if it is feasible, client will deal with the company, and they will uh, there will be some deal of the revenue as well, so that company can make profit and R&D department will start working on that particular project. Then I think I should go on the next slide. Okay, yes, one more important thing. Once, suppose if you go, if you get that project, okay, so in R&D department, mostly what you do, you work at a small level that is called R&D level. A small level means also called shake flask level or test tube level, where your culture media or any product will be in the very small quantity that cannot be industrialized or commercialized at high scale, right? So R&D department, suppose for example, I have been given a project to produce some recombinant protein. Okay, so and that protein is novel. There is no method developed for that. There is no research article online. So you have to clone that molecule and make the recombinant, starting from the scratch, I mean to say. So you will make a clone, then that recombinant plasmid you will transfect, then cloning and then expression, then purification. And after purification, the R&D department will go through several tests, right? To check whether that recombinant protein is significant or not, functional or not functional. So they will do some test in the R&D department. Like for example, a recombinant protein, take some example I have cloned a protein and I have expressed and purified. Then what are the parameters I will check? I will go for protein estimation, UV absorbance as 280 nanometer, then SDS page, then Western blotting. I will check whether the antibodies are giving signal or not. And then next to that, I may go for some ELISA test if available, or some receptor if the protein is having some receptor binding properties. All these things R&D person in the R&D department will perform. Suppose by doing all this stuff, I'm getting all the positive signal. I have cloned the protein, I have expressed the protein, and then I have characterized the protein. I can go for mass spectrometry also, peptide mapping also can be done. I can know the sequence and the morphology of the protein by different methods. So suppose at the end, I am working on the flask level of 1 liter culture media or 100 ml culture media. I am getting all the things all right, right? Then can uh, can a company commercialize this product at this level? As I said, no, because we need to make the same product at larger scale. In R&D department, we are using 1 liter flask or 2 liter flask maximum. But when we are producing we need to produce at a level where you can make drugs for 1 lakh people or 10 lakhs people. So what you need to do? You need to go for a large scale batch where you can get the protein in highest amount, right? So in the next departments, I will discuss how it works. So far, am I clear to all, or is there any query at this level?
I think we'll have questions at the end.
At the end, okay, fine. Then moving ahead. So see, here comes product development, downstream processing, and upstream processing department, right? So as I said, the R&D department had made a product which is functional at their end, or you can say at the shake flask level. So industry will start scaling up. A scaling up is a technical term in the industries. That means you need to produce something at very high amount. Okay, from 1 liter to 1,000 liter. Suppose I have seen many industries, they are having fermenters in their manufacturing department, and that volume is some 500 liter, 700 liter, or 1,000 liter, or 2,000 liter. So see, in the R&D department, a scientist will develop a new molecule or new drug substance. Okay, in the R&D department, a scientist role is still here only, but there are lots of other critical departments which has very important role in the product development. So starting from the product development, in short, it is called the PDL department, where R&D technology will be transferred to that department, and that department will having experts on the fermentation operation. I mean, operations. So these experts, mostly they are PhDs or MScs guys who's having good experience to run and fermenter. Here also, you can see the first image on the upside right hand, right? So this is a smaller scale fermenter. In fact, culture media is also there. You can see the screen. Actually, I'm trying to make you all visualize it so that you can recall it easily in future. So this is a fermenter of small scale, maybe 2 liter or 5 liters size. So company will take that R&D technology to the product development department before going to the actual batch of 1000 liter. Okay. Now here I am considering, suppose product is developed in R&D department, it will go to the 1000 liter fermenter, right? So before going to 1000 liter, the PTL department will take and will try to optimize the condition of fermentation to get the maximum yield in a small scale batch, right? It can be 2 liter, it can be 5 liter. Now you recall from 100 ml shake flask level, it will come to the 2 liter or 5 liter. Okay. So once the optimization is done at this PTL department, this PTL department will transfer this technology to the manufacturing department, and then further manufacturing department will scale up it at different size of fermenter. There can be 50 liter or 500 liter. Then it will go to the 1000 liter. The reason behind of this is um the molecules, the cells will not behave exactly what it was behaving in the R&D department in 100 ml culture. When you increase the volume, say some 50 liter or 500 liter, your cells under the same condition when R&D scientists developed will behave totally different. That will be entirely different. So the fermentation experts will optimize the condition at different level of the volumes from 5 liter, 50 liter. Then they will get a confidence to run a batch of 500 liter or 1000 liter. Because suppose from 100 ml R&D department shake flask level, you are running a 1000 liter batch. And if it is failing, then what is the like objective? Company will lose 1000 liter media that cost millions of rupees. So to avoid this kind of circumstances, and also manpower and the time wastage of time is also there, so optimization is very important. So this is also a department where PhDs and MScs are working. And these are like live example. I'm currently working in an organization which is having all these departments. Then there is another department, downstream processing. In short, it is called DSP. So the role of this DSP department is purification of the product. Okay. See now, see the correlation between different departments. R&D gave the technology to PDL department. R&D has the PhDs experts in the cloning or purification or the molecular biologist or the cell biologist in R&D. Now see the diversity. In PDL, suppose somebody has done a PhD in microbiology and he was doing fermentation kind of things. So that kind of person will join this department. Fermentation experts are required in this product development department, and their role are very crucial. Reason, because of your optimization, a company will get a new product and they can make millions of revenues, right? So for PhDs in microbiology, expert on fermentation has a prospect in the PDL department. Now suppose somebody has done a PhD or MSc from a lab which were working on protein purification or the protein biology lab. For them, this is the department called DSP, downstream processing. The actual role of this downstream processing department is to take the samples from PDL department or sometimes from the manufacturing department, and they will take that cell harvest. In fact, they will perform multiple step of purification and optimization of the purification by several methods. I'm showing a instrument over here, that is ACTA system. There are different variants of ACTA from the GE Healthcare. You must see, you must recall this image. It will be required in the coming slides as well. And this is a very useful instrument. If somebody knows to operate this instrument, will get a job definitely. That person cannot like stay free or jobless. So DSP department are fully equipped with the protein purification systems. They will purify your product and they will tell you that your product is okay or not okay. Once again, coming back to the PDL department. PDL department optimize the fermentation conditions. Okay, but this PDL guy is not knowing whether that cells is having that protein or not. Suppose fermentation cells are live after 72 hours in the fermenter, right? But how one person will get to know whether the expression is there or not there? So in these moments, quality control departments come and the DSP. Okay, see, DSP will purify the protein and give it to the quality control department. Quality control will check whether that molecule is really behaving properly or not. Right. So quality control department is also one of the very critical department and important because it comes into role at each step of the product development and its manufacturing until the product get released from the industry. I will come to the quality control as well. So DSP done, PDL done. Next is USP, upstream processing. In short, USP. So the upstream processing department also play a crucial role in the purification of your cell harvest, which is taken from the fermenter. Right. So USP is dedicatedly working on the large scale batches. See the difference in USP and DSP. DSP will purify proteins for the small scale batches, maybe 5 liter or 50 liter, but it is not limited to. In under circumstances, DSP can work for the huge batches like 1,000 liter, 2,000 also, but mostly till 50 liter batches DSP will work. USP is dedicatedly works for huge batches like the largest scale batches called 1,000 liter or 2,000 liter, right? So role is same. They will use different chromatographic techniques for purification of the drug substance. If it is a protein, there will be chromatography. If it is another the drug substance, they will do some other purification techniques. So this is the significance of PDL, DSP, and USP. Now next is manufacturing come to play at the end. R&D से प्रोडक्ट आपका आ गया है PDL डिपार्टमेंट में, and from PDL they have optimized the fermentation conditions. Then from PDL it will go to analysis of your product, whether the product is correct or not correct, or functional or not functional. So after ensuring all these activities, in which a QC is also involved all the time, if something goes okay, your product is characterized and behaving well and giving good signals of different tests, then it will go to the manufacturing, because at this level all the departments and the team is confirmed. They have confidence that from 100 ml shake flask from R&D department is now behaving at 5 liter batch, so they can move on to 50 liter or higher batches, right? So in manufacturing department, see, in this department, mostly BSc or MSc candidates are required because there is no new technology to develop. There is no like molecular biology or cell biology to do. In manufacturing department, you have to produce the product at a large scale level. You need to run the fermenters and you need to monitor. So there is nothing much more to do. But for the job prospect, I won't recommend it strongly, or in the priority, I won't take it because there is like not use of your academic whatever you have studied. Only you need to work like an operator here, and if like you have some experience of 10 years or more than that, you will be working as a manufacturing manager or the senior manager, and you have to manage the manpower, and you need to keep eye on each and every employee and whatever the instruments running. So manufacturing department only, it's better to join some other department for MSCs who is enthusiastic in doing science or experiments or doing pipetting. Here I am showing you two images. The upper one is a person who is like handling. You can see this is a like fermenter or a bioreactor, whatever. So you can see this much huge tank filled with the media. They will start culturing the cells. Then you can see there are number of like hundreds of pipelines are there and connected with a system, a PC, and the software is there. So a guy working in the manufacturing department will keep monitoring the pH of the media, I mean the culture, dissolved oxygen, and the nutrient content time to time. They will keep monitoring so that they can provide the oxygen or the nutrition media whenever required in the culture. So this mostly this is the only job in a manufacturing department. So I don't think you will get to explore a lot. Only you need to learn the fermenter and you will get a simple job. And this is a very tedious job as well, because any company's manufacturing department runs 24/7. There is no off or holiday in this department. So a person working will be working all the time, and there is different shifts also. Suppose if a person working in manufacturing department, he has to work, he has to mentally ready to come in different shifts. Shifts in the corporate are three: A shift, general shift, B shift. A shift starts from the like morning 6 to 2, B shift 2 to 10 in the night, and night shift is from night to whatever time, depends on the company to company. Night 10 to early morning 6 or 8. A general shift is 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, like that. So a person who is opting a manufacturing department, he should be ready to work in this fashion. I have actually long presentation. I guess I have lots of stuff to share. That will come. Let first understand the department, their role. I want to make everyone familiar with each of the departments so that they can know the role of the department and they can find themselves whether they are suitable person to work in that department or not to work in that department. Uh, my slides are visible to you?
Yeah, now it's visible.
Okay. This is what I was telling. I will come to the salary maybe some 10 or 15 minutes later. Okay. So resuming the talk. So what I have explained, I think all the points over here. So in the manufacturing department, there will be a routine work, different shifts. आपको रात में जागना भी पड़ सकता है, दिन में दोपहर में आना पड़ सकता है, होली में दिवाली में आपको छुट्टी भी नहीं मिलेगी, अगर लकी हो तो मिल भी सकती है. तो ये सारी चीजें हैं. And the manufacturing department, you see, I was telling, this is a corridor I am showing. There is a reason behind that. This is a specially designed corridor or the complete manufacturing plant, which follows guideline. Without a guideline from the US FDA, good manufacturing practice, GMP, this is called GMP and GLP, good laboratory practice. Without this, you cannot start producing a product in your industry. You need to take approval from the FDA or the local agencies who regulate this kind of industries. Like in India, we have SIDASCO or the DBT or DST. So you need to get approval and you have to build an infrastructure. Only then you can start working. And like there are lots of things which I'll tell later about the guidelines and the regulatory agencies. So manufacturing department done. Now quality control and analytical department. Okay, QC and analytical. So I think most of you are familiar with this name, quality control. So I want to tell you the role of this department. As I said, this is very crucial department because uh, it is said that quality control and the quality assurance, QC and QA, are the pillars of any industry, not only in pharma. In any industry, QC and QA are the pillars. Reason, your industry will only work if you produce and release a quality product in the market or to your clients, wherever you are releasing. So, a surety of a quality product, its performance is always on the priority. R&D's work is remain till development of a new technology. Then after it is taken over by different departments, and all the data from manufacturing, from like optimization in the product development department, in between or through all these processes, a aliquot of sample will be sent to the quality department time to time, and the quality department personnel will check by different defined assays. For example, I said for protein, maybe ELISA or Western or HPLC is a very common technique these days. So quality department will perform these assays and test, and they will check whether the product is under a specification or not. In technical term, it is called OOS. Okay, out of a specification or under a specification. So why this is required out of a specification? This is required because suppose you are running a large scale batch, right? Some 500 liter culture media you have started in a batch, but the protein yield is very less in that one. Or suppose your product is not behaving as expected, or the purity is, suppose for example, in 1 ml of your sample, there is only 50% of purity of your protein. Then what you will do in that condition? If the purity is 50% and 50% impurity, do you think that that will be used as a drug and administered to the human beings? No, it cannot. There is a specification that a drug substance should have more than 95% of purity. Okay, so quality control department will tell the concerned department, is it there something for me? Okay.
Yeah,
Hello.
please continue. Please continue.
Okay, fine. Okay, so quality control department tells whether your product is authentic and falling under the specification of acceptable criterias. So criterias, it should be more than 95% pure. It should pass all the tests. Suppose your one product is 95% pure, but it is not giving signal in the Western blot. Okay, so that means there are some morphological changes, because of that it is not functioning, or it is not giving signal in the enzymatic assay. Okay, kinetic study कर रहे हैं, enzyme है अगर कोई protein, उसका काइनेटिक स्टडी अगर हमने किया, and it is not like converting it substrate into the product, but the purity is more than 95%, then your batch is fail. So quality department will tell you your batch is successful or fail. And if the product is okay, then till what extent it is okay. So this is the actual role of a quality department, and this is one of the busiest department in the entire industry, because quality control department gets the samples from all the concerned department. From manufacturing, several batches are running for every day, lots of processing are going, and from each step of processing, manufacturing will send you sample. DSP, downstream processing department, which purifies the product, they will also, like, they have done some 4 step of purification. So 4 different samples for the same product will come to the quality control department, and QC department has to perform the test and share the results on time. It's not like today I receive the sample and I will share the result 1 week later. It's not like that. There are certain defined time so that I can share the report, and the concerned department will proceed further for their next step of purification or whatever their plan is. One of the most important role of QC department is to maintain the good documentation practice. So there, I mean to say, there are few more things which is very important for the industry. That is GLP, good laboratory practice; GDP, good documentation practice; GMP, good manufacturing practice; and preparation of some certain documents. So these are very important. So a QC department also prepare a document called certificate of analysis. This is very important. That's why I have written over here, because when you purchase a product, or when you see any medicine or any reagent, there is a tack insert or kit insert. Along with that, there will be one more document called certificate of analysis. That COA tells you about that product, its a specification, its content and all. So quality control department has the responsibility to produce it, and this COA will be approved by the quality assurance department before the release of the product from your industry. So if there is some minor error also in the like documentation or your testing in the quality control department, it will impact the entire product. Correct. So the person working in quality control department should have very sharp minded, and should have very good hands on the pipetting and performing any kind of test. So absent minded people or lazy people cannot survive in this department, right? Then next to it comes the analytical department. Analytical department also linked to the quality control. This department has uh, like uh, roles to make new assays, new methods development, and its validation time to time. And suppose there is a novel molecule you have in your lab. Your company developed a novel molecule, but you are not having any like method to analyze it through ELISA. You don't know the condition, you need to develop ELISA method. Then you don't know the HPLC method for that, then you need to develop a HPLC method, right? So once you develop the method, and you need to establish that one. So after method development, its validation part comes. What is validation? Validation is a process in which you check whether the new developed method for your product, for example, let's say HPLC, I have developed a new method. So whether that is authentic and it will work always or not. So we will check under different conditions of pH changes, then its precision. We'll check whether the method works in different instruments, so that at the time of technology transfer, like suppose I developed the product in India, and a person in sitting in New York, if I send that product, he will use that HPLC method, he should get the same result. So this is why the validation part comes. So I have explained here quality control and analytical department, and all these things I have seen live in my current organization, in my previous organization. So these are the departments common in all the industries. Now here comes the quality assurance. So quality assurance name itself says to assure something. So this is another pillar of any industry, and this is what I can say. This department also a person with a biological background, MSc, biotech, microbiology, biochemist, or any life sciences guy can join in a pharma or CROs or IVD industry. Okay, but this is a department with no wet lab, no bench work is there, only documentation. This is a department where you can work 9 to 5, like not like in other departments. Like in QC, if you have lots of samples, you need to stay back and complete your work, complete your documentation, and you need to leave the lab. In the R&D, same way, you need to stay back in the lab and you need to complete your experiment. But in quality assurance department, it is not like that. The role of quality assurance is to check whether all the people in the department of different department, they are working properly or not, they are following the guidelines or not following the guidelines, because for any industry, guidelines are very, very important. They are actually what you can say, they will verify your work, they will verify your data. Suppose I am working in a production department and I made some wrong entry, quality control, quality assurance department will catch me. They will verify me time to time. They can even check the CCTV cameras also. They have the access to visit any department anytime, and they can open any instrument as well. They can open any software to see what are the things you have done. They can check your work history as well. So QA department has a role to assure that company is following the guideline, departments are following the good manufacturing practice, good laboratory practice, all these things. And apart from this, a QA person also involved in making, I mean to say, they will help the industry to develop a good culture so that you can get certifications from US FDA or DBT in India or DST in India, lots of other organization like WHO, they make audit time to time. Also, another important role is to plan internal audit in the departments. Okay, now in vitro diagnostics industry, right? So in this industry, there are mainly two major departments for the biotech and students: reagents and equipments. So this is already I have told, like in vitro diagnostic industries, uh, they will do research and they develop the products like reagents which are being used in the diagnostic industries, diagnostic labs or pathological labs, right? So here are some of the name, like biochemistry reagents, immunodiagnostics, hematology, oncology tests. So all these tests reagent department will do, and there are another department called equipments. So in vitro diagnostic industries are also has equipment, R&D equipment department, where a person with biomedical engineering can work. These equipment departments will produce some medical devices. Okay, so I'll show you some of the product what in vitro diagnostic made. I have worked on all these instruments. In fact, I have seen all these reagents. These are certain instruments, like this is a, what to say, this is a hematology analyzer. In the IVD industry, you can join in the equipment section if you have biomedical engineering uh, degree. This is also another hematology analyzer. These are the reagents. So this kind of work you can get in the in vitro diagnostic industry. Then again, contract research organization. I have already actually discussed all these steps: new product development, doing R&D, and the main function of contract research organization is to work for another biotech industry or pharma industry. They will assist them for development of the product, because it is not important, maybe the client is not having that infrastructure to produce a novel molecule or the new R&D in their own lab. So they will give their work, they will design a project and give their work to the CRO, and CRO will produce that molecule and sell it to the client. And this is the way how the CRO get revenue. Then let's come to the next. This is the process flow and the regulatory authorities and certifications and compliances, which I want to show you. These are some names. No need to go in much discussion in this. US FDA. ISO is for the quality product. ISO 9001 2008. Many people see on the products. So this is the assurance that your product is authentic and produced under good condition. NABL certifications. So this is why I have given, because if you any student trying to find a job, then he should see whether that company who is offering the job is having these certifications or not, like WHO, NABL, DST, DBT, or they are following what guidelines. US FDA or 21 CFR is a guideline from the ICH. ICH is a council which made the guidelines for pharma industries and the food industries, then how to work and how to taste the product. ICH is International Conference on Harmonization of Biotech and Pharmaceutical Products.